Welcome to Hip Hop Now Podcast. If you're from the future, you know what to do. Get your ass out of here. Don't disrespect the legend. Hip hop is here to stay. Let's get right into the business.
What up, y'all? I am your host, Vegas, and this is Hip Hop Now Podcast, a podcast specifically designed to keep you caught up on all things hip hop, music, and culture that happened throughout the week. Big shout out to the supporters on the audio side first that listen to this podcast, that subscribe to this podcast, review this podcast. I know you did on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and all that good stuff. Appreciate you. Big shout out also to the subscribers to this podcast right here on YouTube. We met our goal for the year. You know how you get to work and you're like, I'm done with all my work and it's 11 o'clock. I'm just going to watch Netflix shows, go down a rabbit hole on YouTube, and basically stay on social media the whole time. So we're not doing that, but we're going to chill for the goal. And, you know, the goal to me at this point, considering how quickly we got to 10,000 subscribers right now, we're at 12,000, knocking on 13. I think 25,000 is the next goal. I doubt that'll happen before the end of the year, but you never know. I might go viral. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to everybody, and especially shout out to new subscribers to this podcast. And if you a type of person who pop in, whether it's the audio joint or YouTube, but you didn't hit that subscribe button, check this stat out, because it's real. More than 90% of the people who listen to this podcast or even watch it on YouTube are not subscribed. Not subscribed. So if you enjoy this content, and whether it's this weekly podcast or the shorts I post or the special episodes, and I got a few more coming up. Special episodes like my reaction videos, like I just did a third video recently talking about the origin, not the origins, but what is Coke rap, basically. So it makes sense if you like something to subscribe it, like, comment, all that good stuff. But today is a special episode of the podcast. It's an episode I do annually as we approach the end of the second quarter. We will be at the halfway point of the year. And like I say, when I do my best of the year podcast episodes, I'm working on that end of the year list every day throughout the year. So all the projects that drop, everything, I'm listening to, surprise drops we know about, right? Like Lil Wayne, Carter 6. If you was looking for my review today, it's not that good. So there you go. But I'm building that list throughout the year. And typically by the halfway point, there's some strong candidates, but this year is a little bit different. I feel like the list is full of good albums, and I got maybe like 13 joints for y'all, full of good albums, but maybe one or two are those joints that I feel like by the end of the year, they'll still be on this list because we got a lot coming up. So without further ado, I know some people want to get right into it. Let's get right into the business. All right. So like I said, this is a quick list. I'm going to run through them. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on some of the albums. But here are some of the albums I think are the best of the year so far. Starting at the top, no order. Relax, in no order whatsoever. Starting at the top, 100 Grand Royce with his album, It's Personal Too. I was introduced, shout out to Yintz, I was introduced to 100 Grand Royce through the first part, It's Personal. And I was like, man, these beats are dope. Homie could rhyme. Like, I like this. So I've always kind of kept my eye on his music. And he's done some stuff with Dame Grease that was dope. But This year he dropped a sequel to the album I was introduced to him by. And man, what one thing about this dude is you can never call him a whack beat picker because I love almost every beat he picks. I never look at the beat and be like, that could have been better. They're always dope. So if you want boom bap, you want familiar samples. That's what I really like about it, like flips on familiar samples. You should definitely check this joint out. And again, the bars are there. It's boom bap. You know what I'm saying? You know what comes with the territory with boom bap. The beats make your head nod. Like, it's worth the listen. Uh, West Side Gun 12. I reviewed this on the one of the episodes of Hip Hop Now podcast, and I said straight up, I think this is probably going to make my top 5 of the year. We'll see what happens, but this is a great album from West Side Gun. If you stayed away from West Side Gun for a little while, or you like Stove God Cooks but haven't really heard anything since Reasonable Drought, this is probably what you want to check out. There's probably one song on here I skip, and that's saying a lot. And it's also featured on this album is SD Nax. So it's a very dope album from West Side Gun. One of the early candidates for my top 5 of the year. I mess with it heavy. I listen to it like all the time. So check that out. Next up, Snoop Dogg. Is It a Crime? Snoop Dogg just dropped Missionary with Dr. Dre at I think December of 2024. I'm thinking we're not really going to get another album from Snoop. Probably a year or two or whatever, and I was thinking like it would be different, but it felt like Snoop saw the reception of that album, which I thought was great. But maybe people who saw Dr. Dre and Snoop getting together had an expectation that was more Chronic Doggy style and not necessarily what they make today, which is not whack in my opinion. But I get it that people wanted a more LBC, harder edge Snoop. And I think this album gives you that, like off the rip. He doesn't do much talking about, the whole performing at that president's inauguration, but he does address it in his light and he moves on. And I think this is one of the better albums of the year. Next up, Lloyd Banks, AON3, Despite My Mistakes. This is going to be in a couple people's like top 5 of the year, easy. You want boom bap beats. You want bars upon bars upon bars. If you know Lloyd Banks and what he does, is like a technician with the bars. And I feel like this project is one of his better albums recently. I know there's some people who like everything he's released recently. For me, he can be a little bit monotone, not a little bit, a lot of bit monotone. Which if you have a ton of songs with a ton of verses and the songs are longer, they can all blend together. I think this project is a little bit different because of the production. The production provides you with that variety, and it feels like the production kind of sets the tone for what you're going to hear. So I think that's what I like most about it, because it made me like get through the whole album without getting that feeling of, man, this just feels so redundant. I'm not even listening to his lyrics. No, bar work. And the guest features on here are the same, like dudes like Ransom, Styles P, I believe is on here. Like those dudes that can rap. They bring it on this record, and I think it's just a dope album. This will probably make my top 5 of the year, strictly off the fact that it's refreshing to just hear different hip hop, and not different for different sake, but mainly because it sounds good. It sounds like really good. And it's still in that hip hop bag. It's not in that bag that blurs the lines between pop or some other genre of music. It's straight up hip hop, but it just sounds really good. And a lot of it has to do with, did I even say the album? This is Saba and No ID from the private collection of Saba and No ID. I feel like Saba's lyrics are varied. His subject matter is varied. He sounds poised on these records, in the pocket, all that good stuff. And No ID from the producer standpoint, it's the same thing. Variety. You know what I'm saying? Like music that, like, put it this way. I could listen to somebody like Currency all day, every day. Why? Because it's more about the vibe of it than it's about whether those lyrics are similar to the lyrics on the other song, and if that beat is a similar feeling to the. Nah, man, that's what I came there for. But when somebody can make you really listen to the things they're saying and kind of reflect and relate and all that good stuff, now you're talking. And I feel like on this album with Saba and No ID, it's going to be hard to knock it out of my top five. Like we're going to have some stellar albums this year in order for it to leave my top five. Because right now, I could easily pencil it in as one of the top five. Next up, Too Short. Sir Too Short, Volume 1, Freaky Tales. I just like it because it's classic Too Short on a new album, right? Some people feel like, oh, well, if he's not doing anything different, I'll just go listen to the old albums. You're right. Too Short got a lot of older albums where he's doing all these same things. But what I like about it is that it's new. And I like the production. And Too Short is hilarious to me. It's early 90s vulgar. I'm gonna just warn you right now. It's not like he uses the B word and that's it, or he might make a reference towards a lady doing something. No, it's early 90s hardcore lyrics. So if you cringe at hearing certain things, don't even press play, fam. I don't know how you heard the first single. Next up, Jim Jones at the Church Steps. This is one of those joints that will make it. It will make the best of the year for me because I just like it. It's just dope. I like when Jim Jones raps like this. I like when his production value is not only varied but kind of soulful in some ways, and he rhymes perfectly in pocket. He's like if Rick Ross was from New York. That's what he's like. Like he talks about the same things all the times, but it doesn't matter. It just sounds dope. And I just like his cadence. I don't necessarily like seeing him dress like Dusty Rhodes at the bowling alley or whatever that video was. But who cares? Or Young YN. I think it's whack for him to even dress or act like that at his age. But that is no way. There's no way, put it that way, bars, if that's how you put your bars, that I could listen to this album and let what I think about how he dressed or how he's acting in public deter me from the fact that this is a very dope album. And I think a lot of people ignore this type of music from Jim Jones because they feel like, nah, I can't really mess with that dude. I don't even know him. I don't need to mess with him. It's just a very dope album. So if you liked El Capo, you'll like this. I'm just saying. Next up, DJ Fresh, Late Night Freeway Vibes. That's an instrumental album from DJ Fresh. I think it's like I thought I had it down here, but I think it's like the 13th volume, something crazy. But what I like about it is one of those instrumental albums that you could just put on and rock to it. It's not boring. It's almost like some people can't just listen to an instrumental hip hop album. Then when there's some bars on that, and sometimes I can feel like that, but I feel like that when the beats are bare, right? Like they're simple, right? It's a loop, and it's a loop that continues to happen until it's finished, right? Like 3 minutes in, you're still on that loop. That's not what these DJ Fresh instrumentals are. They have take on a life of their own. They have a personality with everything that's included within the beats, how they begin, all kinds of stuff. So I really mess with it for that reason. Couple more. Next up, Smith and Wesson, Infinity. I was a little like so, and again, I don't know if this will make my best of the year by the end of the year because again, there are a lot of albums on the way. that are highly anticipated. You know, they don't have to live up to that anticipation for most fans, but this album, Infinity from Smith and Wesson, is pretty dope. Produced by Ninth Wonder and the Soul Council, has a number of bangers on there. But it could potentially be one of those albums people forget because it came out so early in the year. But if you haven't heard it and you're a fan of Smith and Wesson, check it out. I did a review on one of the past episodes of Hip Hop Now podcast, but also I did a ranking of Smith and Wesson albums. And honestly, going back, listening to the progression of that group up into this album, Infinity, it just makes sense lyrically, musically, and all that good stuff. So check that out. Next up, a dude who I did an interview right here on this podcast. You should check that interview out. I Am God, City of God. If you require extreme bar work, articulation of words, I Am God never fails. Never fails. Like you could listen to, like you listen to the first record off the joint, and it's so potent with like just not only just bar work and technique, but just execution of that technique, clarity of his voice as he says these words, as he enunciates, and not in a overtly way. Like I think that's what I like about Pusha T in particular. Like it's the way he enunciates when he talks about all this. He makes everything with all this coke. He makes everything sound bigger than what he's actually saying, right? It may sound really basic with someone else, not saying the bars are basic, but his execution of the verse is part of what makes his verses dope. And that's the same thing with I Am God. It's his delivery that makes you pay attention to the words. And when you're paying attention to the words, you kind of catching the gems and the bars, and you're like, man, this dude is awesome. The album is also. Next up, Dave East and Ransom, The Final Call. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like Ransom did two recent collaborations, right? He did one with Conway last year that I kind of like got into after the fact because they're both. I'm a big fan of both Conway and Ransom, but I felt like I expected a little bit more, and if sometimes it felt like the music didn't match them teaming up, and the chemistry wasn't what I thought it would be, but it wasn't bad at all. That's kind of how I felt initially with the Dave East and Ransom, right? It felt like, okay, Dave East, you take your turn, and then Ransom takes his turn. But as I go back and spin it more, man, I listen to this on a regular basis. Is it top 5 for me at the end of the year? I doubt it, but it definitely will be in my best of the year because I think if you enjoy bar work and underground beats, this with a theme, in the final call, I think you would enjoy this joint. Wu-Tang Clan, Black Samson, the Bastard Swordsman. This is not one of the better Wu-Tang projects, but it's also not one of the worst. It's somewhere in the middle where, to me, it's good. It's good for what it is. There's not a lot of noise around it because, again, every time the Wu-Tang's coming out, we wonder if RZA is going to be on the boards. And lately, he's not on the boards, and it has to do with him not wanting to retread ground production-wise when it comes to that familiar Wu-Tang sound. I wish one time he would just do that so that we can get a RZA-produced album that sounds like the Wu you know and love, at least a combination between their first two albums, but that's not where RZA is. So we get Mathematics, which is not a bad trade-off. It's just that in order to get something that resembles the Wu sound, Mathematics is your guy for the Wu. And this album, having a blaxploitation theme to it, is pretty good. It's pretty good. Will it be top 5 of the year for me? No, it's not even top 5 right now. Is it one of the better albums of the year so far? Yes, it is. So if you like the Woo, you like the Woo sound, all the members are there on the joint, including RZA. Check this out. You might dig it, because if you're waiting for RZA to dial it back to 36 Chambers or Wu Tang Forever, you're gonna be waiting forever, because he said so. Like, nah, man, I'm trying to create something different. And the last one I have on my list is Exhibit Kingmaker. This is an album that released recently. Exhibit was away from the game for some time, so this is kind of like a comeback album for him. And if you like Exhibit and his music, if you haven't heard Exhibit before, not to say that you should start here, but this is a really good album. This is a really good album. I dug it. I messed with the themes. I messed with the guest appearances. Um, Ironically, the song with Redman was the one I didn't like that much, which is weird because I love Redman. But it was like, it was okay. I guess I was expecting more. But again, production is right. Exhibit sounds fresh. It sounds hungry. And it's an album in the same vein that albums used to be made, right? Like, it's a concept, but it's not like every song is a play on that concept, but the concept is felt and heard throughout the project. And I just think between and the way it's mastered too, it sounds excellent. Like, if you put headphones on with it, it sounds great. But I just enjoy it because it felt like Exhibit took his time with this record, and it's a good album. Now, I know nowadays good isn't enough for some people. They need you to say it's in your top 5, or if it's the best of the year, it has to blow them away. I think we say music, taste in music is subjective. When I talk about some of these albums, you may not like some of these albums. You may not like some of these artists. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just telling you from what I've heard, and I've heard a lot, that those that I just gave you are the best of the year so far. Now, when it comes to my best of the year, which will happen in December, and this list will go, will be reshaped. Right now, there's 2 slots for my 15 at the end of the year. Because what I do at the end of the year is I give you 10 albums that I feel are some of the best of the year, and then I give you my top 5. And right now, that was like 13, right? So there are 2 who we can put in there. And then throughout the year, like, once I get a solid 15 as albums release, especially if they're great, some things will come off this list. And you say to yourself, because you're not on social media all the time, well, what's coming up? Well, my friend, there's rumors of a Mobb Deep album, obviously a posthumous album for Prodigy, with Havoc and Alchemist on the boards. There's also, hold up, the Mass Appeal, 7 albums from 7 legends on the way. Those 7 albums being Slick Rick, which is up first. That'll be out pretty soon. Big L, Raekwon, Ghostface, who else? De La Soul. I'm forgetting somebody else. Nas and Premier, and then who's the other person? I cannot remember. But look it up. I did an episode on it as well. Man, why can't I think of that other person? Hold up. Let's go. Let's just rewind just one real quick. Let's rewind real quick. Slick Rick, Ghost, Ray, Big L, De La Soul. Okay, we're about to look it up on the internet right now. Well, now I feel like a dummy because the 7 albums coming this year are Nas and Premier, Slick Rick, Raekwon, Ghostface, Big L, De La Soul, and Mobb Deep. How could I forget Mobb Deep when I just mentioned Mobb Deep? But also more recent, dropping in July. If you're from the future, get your ass out of here. The Clips, have a brand new album. They have a single out right now. Lord have mercy. I heard a snippet of another song. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. We about to get bars and beats. Clips are back. So, what's in your best of the year so far? Did you have some of the albums I had? Please leave album suggestions, joints you feel like, yo, this dropped this year, I think you should check it out. Leave that in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you love the content. Hit the like button if you like it. Comment, of course, I read the comments, but more importantly, share it with people you know enjoy this kind of content. Till next time, y'all, I'm not a critic, I'm a fan. Peace.